Hello and welcome to from the mic stand here on Arts Echoes. We are back once again at the lovely Mash in Macclesfield. Really excited to be on the show once again. And this week we have something a little different for you. We have some live poetry from Mark over here. So Mark, it's great to have you on the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
And how have you been today? You been alright?
I've been good today. Yeah, very good. And last night we had a very good evening downstairs here at Mash, which your good self organised, and it was the Spoken Bars Poetry Night. And it was the first time I've actually performed in front of a live audience for a year and a half. So I think it was good for everybody really to actually be back at a live event again.
Yeah, definitely. There's just a completely different feeling performing to people live, isn't there?
Of course, yeah. I mean, you know, I know yourself and a lot of other people have been organising sort of online poetry events and spoken words events, and you know that's great. That's been good, and I've done a few of those. But yeah, there's nothing like sort of performing in front of a live audience and the sort of interaction that you have with an audience.
Yeah, definitely. So for those people that haven't heard your poetry before, that don't know anything about you, just want to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'm Mark. By day I'm a support worker. I work with people with learning disabilities, and I'm also a trade union rep, trade union steward and activist. By night I'm Mark the poet, and I'm a performance poet. I suppose the best way to describe myself in terms of the poetry that I write is that I'm a rhyming ranter. So I write in rhyme. I kind of I find poetry or performance poetry anyway as a sort of a way of getting things off my chest, and having a good old rant. Sometimes humorously, hopefully, and sometimes a bit more serious.
So I think the best way to introduce an act with a bit of live material. So what are you going to kick things off with?
I'm going to kick things off with a poem all about life, and it's called Life. So this is my poem about life. Life. It's a bumper box of Belgian chocks. It's a bowl of wholesome pasta. It's a rickety ride that rocks and shocks, so scream if you want to go faster. It's the state of being before you're dead. It's the mire in which you wallow. It's a shit sandwich, and if you've got more bread, the less shit you'll have to swallow. It's a funny old game. It's a game of fate. It's a long, winding road to drive. It's a tiresome drudge. It's a trap, checkmate, and you're lucky if you get out alive. It's a journey through time. It's got rhythm, it's got rhyme. You can take it down whichever path you wish. But there is no way of knowing which way this poem's going, and it can suddenly go off in a completely unexpected direction at any moment. It's sweet. It's sour, it's hot, it's cold, its lies conceal the truth. But I hope I die before I get old is an anthem just for youth. It's a pint of bitter, it's a sticky sweet, it's a gamble, win or lose. It's a dodgy dance to a dodgy beat, but it's still the thing you choose. So, fill it up with laughter before you kick the bucket, 'cause there is no ever after. That's all, folks. That's life. Fuck it. Thank you. Thank you. So this is a poem I wrote some time ago. It's one of those things when you look in the mirror and you see a very old person. And so this is about my fear of getting old. And it's called Fear Around the Corner. He lurks around the corner with his creaking, aching frame. He's hunched around the corner and he doesn't know his name. I see him in the mirror. He's the nighttime voice I hear, and he lurks around the corner. the man that I most fear. He mumbles and he fumbles and he jumbles up his words. He stumbles and he tumbles. His existence is absurd. His bones creak, his joints squeak, he's lost his teeth and hair, his bladder's weak, his future's bleak. He seldom leaves his chair. He breeds familiarity for his inevitable fate. He's a burden on his family and a burden on the state. He scribbles and he dribbles and he laughs at his own jokes. He's cantankerous and he quibbles, he stutters and he croaks. He repeats himself incessantly. He forgets what he's just said. He repeats himself incessantly from his stinking piss-stained bed. He wears a knitted cardie. He sucks a Werther's best. He's blubbery and farty. He wears an old string vest. His baby bland ready meal is spoon-fed from his lap. He's dreaming of a better deal as he drifts off for a nap. He spins his yarns of yesterday, and he doesn't see the truth, that all his dreams will fade away like the memory of his youth. He fears for my tomorrow. I fear for him today. I fear for all his sorrow, so I wish he'd go away. He lurks around the corner with his creaking, aching frame. He's hunched around the corner, and he doesn't know my name. Thank you.
Thanks for those two poems you've just done. Now we're going to have more live performance from Mark in a moment. First, a few questions I wanted to ask him. So, when you were first writing poetry and getting into poetry, were there any particular musicians, or was it more poetry that inspired you, or was it movies, or was it authors, or what really drove you into poetry?
Okay, to be honest with you, Mike, I never really liked poetry until comparatively recently.
Yeah.
I didn't really get it,
Right.
and I think most people's sort of connection with poetry comes sort of from an early age from school, and I think people are quite often turned off from it. And I just never thought I was clever enough to appreciate it, quite frankly. So it wasn't until comparatively recently. However, my sort of musical influences, I'm going to do a poem in a bit about my musical influences, because I was a punk.
Right.
Back in the day, in the sort of 1977, and so, you know, a lot of that sort of angry ranting stuff comes from that, I think. And obviously around the sort of time of punk, you had poets, particularly John Cooper Clarke, and you had people like Patrick Fitzgerald and people like that who were sort of doing poetry in a kind of musical, you know, supporting bands and being part of that scene. And that kind of always quite appealed to me, really. And so when I kind of got into poetry later on, I mean, I think, you know, in terms of influence with poetry, number one is John Cooper Clarke. I like stuff that's got sort of rhythm to it, so anything that's got a bit of rhythm, and so I like a lot of the dub poets, Linton Kwesi Johnson, Benjamin Zephaniah. I like a lot of that kind of stuff. But more recently, I kind of have more of an appreciation for poetry, and what really did it for me was seeing a video, and if people out there have not seen it, I really recommend it, of Fiona Shaw performing The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot.
Right.
And it is just absolutely brilliant. And I had tried to study The Wasteland, and I couldn't make head and tail of it, and I couldn't make sense of it, and I tried to sort of do that thing that you sort of learn to do when you study English literature and kind of deconstruct it and try to make sense of it in some way. But actually what I learned from watching the Fiona Shaw thing is you can just let the words sort of take you away. And it's brilliant from that point of view. And it kind of, so when I started writing poetry, it was very much writing poetry that was meant to be performed. So it had and the thing we were talking about before, about having a sort of interaction with the audience, as well is I think really important to the kind of poetry that I write.
Yeah, I really would say that a live performance can really unlock a particular poem or poetry in general for
Yeah.
people. I would say, especially like some people, they've never been to a live poetry gig before, and they just don't quite know what it's like, do they? And
No.
when they go, they think, "Oh wow, that's what it's about."
I know, and when you tell people that you do that,
Yeah.
you know, people who've got no sort of connection with that, they think it's very hard to describe.
Yeah.
Isn't it? I think, and people kind of go, you know, I don't know about that, you know. But actually, yeah, I mean, you know, anyone out there who's not been to a live poetry show, I mean, the thing is, as we found last night, there is so much, even locally, there is so much different stuff going on, and you know, people had all different styles, different approaches. So there's bound to be something that you're going to like.
Exactly, there can be poetry that's very humorous,
Yeah.
poetry that rhymes a lot, there's poetry
Something
that's
a bit
all
more
about sci-fi, or you know, poetry that's very
something
serious.
deeper or thought-provoking or something. Yes, I mean, you know, there's anything goes really, doesn't it? And I think, you know,
I even think it has a wider breadth in comedy. It can be very funny, whereas you can do the whole gamut of emotions with poetry.
you can, yeah, and you know, and yes, and I like to think I can do that with the poems that I write. I mean, I think, you know, I like to think that they can use humour to kind of sort of provoke something a little bit more, sort of, you know, provoke a bit more thought. And
now, you were talking about punk bands and stuff. Have you ever been in a band? Did you ever get on stage with a mic or a guitar?
So I was in a punk band when I was 15, I think, called Hector Vash and the Lice. And the problem was we couldn't play anything. And we did one gig, and it was on the bandstand in Newcastle under Lyme, because that's where I lived at the time. And we got banned, like all good punk bands, we got banned by the council because we had a couple of park keepers came and chased us away and said they were going to phone the police if we didn't fuck off. So, no. The brief answer to your question is no, I've never been in a proper band.
But with your
I always wanted to. The problem is I have no musical ability whatsoever. And I think that, you know, I kind of write, when I write poems, when I write words, I often have a tune in my head.
Yeah, sure.
So if I had any musical sort of ability at all, I'd probably write songs, but I just don't. So writing poetry is the kind of outlet for it. It's the only thing I've got really, because I don't have the...
Have you ever been approached to set anything to music, or?
No, I
you
haven't.
go for that?
I would like to. There's one or two poems that I've written that I've got tunes in my head. I know how they go.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So one day, you know, some musician can take these on and turn them into songs, and we can make loads of money.
Great. Well, it's been a pleasure to talk to you so far. We've got, I think, 4 poems now, and then we're back in part 2 for a bit more of chat.
Okay, thank you. I'm falling over. Right, okay, so this is the one I was talking about before. This is a poem about my musical tastes when I was young. I wrote it because I kind of got quite concerned a while back that there wasn't really, you know, about the sort of lack of interest in politics and the lack of activism amongst young people. And I think for my generation, we got that from our music. And I know there are some bands that sort of, you know, do a bit of political stuff that are around now, but there isn't, it's not as much a part of it as it was back in my day. So this is a poem about that, really. It's called Our Music. Our music rocked our parents with its 4-letter shockers. Our music moved the town to the Clash City rockers. As we chewed out our rhythm on our bubble gum, we saw the modern world and it was no fun. Our music blasted down the river. Destroy! God save the Queen! It put the morons in a dither and it rattled the regime. Our music gave us slogans. Our music made us riot, because all the power's in the hands of the people rich enough to buy it. Then cometh the music, cometh the hour. Our music began to give us power, as our music gave us a clue that we could do anything that we want to do. So we rocked against the racists, and we pogoed on the rich. We pleaded, stand down Margaret, as we stood up against the bitch. Our music freed Mandela. Our music smashed the state. Our music exposed all the lies they told and their hypocrisy and hate. Our music united black and white. Our music gave us a say. Our music gave us strength to fight and be glad if we were gay. Our music said stuff the whiners. Our music fought the law. Our music said no, supported the miners. Our music said no more war. Our music brought us together and helped us all to show that music can make a difference and fuck the status quo. Thank you. Thank you very much. I should have said at the beginning of that one that it's really a poem for people of a certain age, because there's a lot of references that anyone under the age of sort of 55 probably wouldn't get. But anyway, this one, by complete contrast, is a poem specifically for and directed to young people. A couple of years ago, it's probably about 3 years ago now, I went to a school reunion. I went back to my old school, which was a pretty weird experience all round. And anyway, we got shown around the school, and it had all changed, obviously. It's a very, very different place to how it was when I was there. And at the end of the tour, the teacher who showed us round said it would be really nice if some of you old boys could write, just a few words of encouragement for the current crop of sixth formers who are about to go out into the big wide world. I'm not sure this was really the sort of thing he was looking for, but this is what I wrote, and I sent it to him. It's called A Message to You. My best advice for the youth of today is don't listen to a word we say. Just sneer and titter at our sad dad dances, because we're old and we're bitter and we blew our chances. We didn't change the world, we just made it worse. And our young man's anger became an old man's curse. So make your own mistakes, because life is quick and there's no lucky breaks, and the world is sick. They'll soon go up in smoke, your harebrained schemes, and life is just a joke. So live your dreams, go, fight the system, smash the state, eat the rich before it's too late. But as you fight the good fight and you sing your own song, remember, you are right and your parents are wrong. But your youth is no crime. But here's a gem. In the fullness of time, you'll turn into them. Thank you. Okay, I'm reading poems. I'm going to do a bit of a plug here because I'm reading poems this evening from my book, Mark the Poet, an anthology, very imaginatively titled. So if anyone wants to get a hold of a copy of this, look on my Facebook page and send me a message, and I will send you a copy for a knockdown price of £4, I think it is. Can't remember. Not sold any for a while. No, I haven't. Of course I have. Anyway, so this is another one from this very good book, and this is a poem about why I don't go to the gym very often, and it's called The Locker Room. Biceps bulge, pectorals ripple at the local municipal. Protein drinks the only tipple. New tattoo around his nipple. Spends too much time in the shower. Scrub-a-dubs for half an hour. Makes the old fat baldy cower. Thinks, these muscles give him power. Cleaning, preening, it's the new way. Chicks don't like a weakling, do they? Guy applies his body's souffle to the strains of Michael Bublé. Full-length mirror, hair untangles. Latest product, it's newfangled. Limbs contort at awkward angles. Bollock naked, dingle dangles. Cubicles! You're off your rocker, likes to show what's in his locker. Pacing, strutting, quite a shocker. How d'ye do? You alright, cocker? Banter, sex and kung fu fighting. Body blazed with Chinese writing. Shows up well in this bright lighting. Hetero, metro, what a sighting. Biceps bulge, pectorals ripple at the local municipal. New tattoo around his nipple at the local municipal. At the local municipal. Thank you. And which one should I do now? Let's do a love poem. This is for my wife, who hopefully is watching this live, and if she's not, why not? Anyway, here's a love poem for Tina. It's the only love poem I've ever written, and so I hope you like it, and more importantly, I hope she does. You're the salt and I'm the pepper. I'm the yin and you're the yang. You're the lead and I'm the zepper. I'm the sillet, you're the bang. You're the Lennon to my Macca. You're the star and I'm the turn. You're the Rizzler for my backer. I'm your Eric, you're my urn. You're the cheese and I'm the biscuit. I'm the ant and you're the deck. I'm a gamble but you risked it. You're the nerves and I'm a wreck. I'm the denim, you're the leather. You're the needle, I'm the thread. I'm the duster, you're the feather. You're the butter on my bread. You're the Rama-Lama ding-dong. I'm the tutti fruit en route. You're the karaoke sing-song. I'm the whistle on your flute. I'm the Marx and you're the Spencer. You're the pen and I'm the ink. I'm the high IQ. You're Mensa. You're the bomb and I'm the stink. I'm the poppadom and chutney. You're the chicken vindaloo. I am dastardly. You're Muttley. I'm grasshopper. You're kung fu. You're the egg and I'm the bacon. I'm the coffee, you're the cream. You're the news that I've been faking. I'm the day and you're the dream. Your love, it makes my world go round, and love is all you need, love. It's out of sight and out of... I've lost my page. I'll start that bit again. Your love, it makes the world go round, and love is all you need, love. It's out of sight and out of sound, and music's food to feed, love. My love is like a red, red rose. My love is like a daisy. It doesn't stay the same, it grows. That little thing called crazy. Thank you very much.